The power of the Center for the Creative Arts is that it will empower a shared vision of Silicon Valley's leading cultural institutes. And what is that vision? It's to create art and culture that really utilizes and showcases the innovations of this valley, as well as really reflects the cultural identity of our people. And by doing that, it serves. I mean, that's what artists do. We serve, and we're serving both local as well as global audiences to this vision here. Now, what do we mean by this, and what is it really going to do in this community setting? Well, it's going to create space and opportunities that, rather than having, again, this man or woman over here, paying and doing this one thing, and this guy and woman over here is basically doing the same thing and paying for it themselves, it's putting that all together in a shared way so we can really leverage opportunity. Things like dance studios, rehearsal space, set and workshops, sound stages, media labs, a theater, studios, classrooms, conference and offices, costume shops, and flexible storage. So rather than 11 of us all doing that on our own, let's do it together in a way that truly empowers. Here is the core leadership team, and Connie and Michael and Wei have gone out to our community and really brought together the leaders of our cultural institutes. And like you, the entrepreneurs and the individuals that make this valley go. There's the facility that our preferred site. We have the vision and we have the team. We'll talk a little bit more about this particular site and why we feel this is going to work. It's a half-mile from downtown San Jose, which means it's very close to where most of us run our businesses and do our arts services. It's in a preferred redevelopment area. In addition, there are already some established arts opportunities and services and activities going on in this particular neighborhood, which really adds and fosters the energy of creativity. And now the main challenge of this particular area is kind of typical for a lot of areas. It's rezoning public transit and parking. And now we're going to hear from 4 of them about why this is important.
Well, a space like this to me represents a lot of history of the community, and being in the arts, combining that history and working together and learning about each other and working as a community is really important.
Would allow building scenery unlike any other place in the country. Probably between New York and California, this would be a major building block for theaters.
Just looking at this place, and it's even in its current state, it really represents some place where creativity can flourish.
Anxious to be a resource to those folks, publicize their events, highlight their work, put it on the cable channel, and also stream it on our website. So to be in an environment with other artist organizations, I think it would be phenomenal. We could really fulfill our mission that way.
I know that the Spartan Keys neighborhood is also excited about the prospect of utilizing the Creative Center for the Arts. I believe that being able to create this kind of partnership would really raise cultural awareness within our community.
What I'm going to try to walk you through is an analysis, very high level, 30,000 feet, 50,000 feet, of why we think the consolidation will work, and also to talk a little bit about the site, the real estate issues involved with it, and what we think is the roadmap going forward for trying to achieve this site as the Center for Creative Arts. But basically what we have is a list of all of our core groups who have expressed an interest in wanting to come into the Center for Creative Arts. Michael did a terrific poll, and he basically went through and asked them, what kind of spaces do you have within your current facility that you would want to offload and to become a shared facility? And we go down this whole group and we come up with nearly 93,000 feet of facility-related spaces that we think are eligible for sharing. In conjunction with that, we went and said, what is your facility-related budget? And that facility-related budget is in this highlighted column on the far right. That number is $1.16 million a year in aggregate. We know this number of $1.1 million is what those groups are spending on facility-related space. We then went in and we said, okay, what do the budgets of these groups look like? And are there areas where we might be able to have some overlap? So we looked at marketing, printing, equipment leases, supplies, and insurance. We did not look at areas which were unique and special to the specific groups. But we said at least the marketing, the printing, the leases, the supplies, and the insurance, they've got to be overlapped. How many copiers do you think are under lease from Xerox in that column, aggregating $335,000 a year? And those 5 groups represent another $2.9 million, close to $3 million a year. And this is basically a schedule of the hours of the day and when these groups are using the facilities. So there is clear overlap. So the facility expenditures excuse me, are $1.1 million annually. We've got nearly $3 million of other related expenses for operations in marketing, printing, supplies, etc. Every 10% savings is about a $400,000 a year savings. Can we achieve 10%? I think that's low-hanging fruit. How much more can we achieve? And there are additional savings if we can begin to consolidate staff. How many IT people do we need running those organizations? Can we consolidate it into one group? The Keys property is 7.8 acres, and we'll show you a picture in a minute. It has on it approximately 165,000 square feet of building in 2 separate buildings. There is an operating grocery store called the Cash and Carry, which occupies about 70,000 feet, and there is a warehouse where you saw those videos that is currently just for dry storage, and that's the brick building, the picture of which you saw earlier. We only need a portion of the property, but we have been in extensive conversation with the landowners. It's an older family. They've held the property for a long time. They want to do something with it. They basically had a sale in escrow a number of years ago for an $18.5 million price, conditional upon residential zoning, which equates to $52 a square foot. That sale fell out for whatever reason, but they're still holding on to the memory of the $18.5 million offer. So they've told us we're in no hurry. We're willing to wait for the new residential entitlements. So I ask all of you, we could do a handicapping here, when is the next high-rise condominium going to be built in San Jose? Quite a few years away. So we believe that the current valuation as industrial land is probably $10.5 million. The landowners have said explicitly, we won't do a deal at that price, but all is subject to negotiation.
First Act has invested $50,000, and what have we done with that? We've created the shared vision, secured the 11 top partners that we mentioned. We have identified a preferred location. It's not the only opportunity, but it's a preferred location. We've conducted the preliminary analysis on that particular space, scheduling and costs that Wei went over. We've tested the conceptual interest with 5 foundations and the National Endowment of the Arts. And we've secured priority interest from Deloitte, who looks like they'll come in as a pro bono partner on this project. Now, where are we at for phase 2? And here's our ask. Phase 2 requires an investment of $150,000. And what will we do with that? A lot. We'll engage with the current owners on the terms of this transaction, and if it's successful, the terms are right, then we'll move forward. And if not, we'll move to an alternative. We'll complete the due diligence code and compliance for this particular site. We'll explore the RDA's role in our partnership and our move here. And we'll conduct more detailed analysis of cost-saving opportunities. And then if we assume no fatal flaws and everything's going well, we'll develop the budget, schedule, and funding strategy for phase 3, which is where we make it a reality. And we're looking at 2 to 3 years to move in and to start working as a collaborative, creative group.